Good morning. Welcome to build day 32. It is going on 11 o'clock, so I'm getting out here an hour earlier than I did yesterday. I slept good again last night. My body's finally to the point where it's saying 5-6 hours of sleep a night aren't working, and it's letting me sleep, which is good. But as far as what's on the docket for today, well, as soon as I get this camera put down, it's going to be getting the hay into the witch and the display in the chain hallway and getting them sealed up so Sue Ann can do her thing in there. After that, I think we're going to be downstairs. I want to get those 2 power supplies done and back into the power box so I'm not having to worry about that or rush around at the last minute. So it'll take some time doing that too. Past that, I am not sure exactly what we're going to be doing today. Next display out here to get finished up and buttoned up will be the graveyard. So I'll need to get out here and see. The only thing I got to do in the graveyard is button up the brain boxes and then get hay in there and button that one up. Past that, the display is done. It's already got its lights in it. So... But other than that, weather-wise, we've got clear skies, but we had a storm front blow through a couple days back, had some high winds. We ended up having to turn the blow-ups off because of it. Yesterday, we ended up with high winds, and I ended up having to turn the blow-ups off. I went and checked the weather today on my phone, and it is saying a high wind advisory from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. Winds with gusts up to 60 miles an hour. So probably about lunchtime I'll be coming out and turning the blow-ups off yet again. Wind and blow-ups do not get along very well. As to the haunt, we're doing pretty good. We haven't taken really any wind damage whatsoever, except for the roof of the mausoleum and some of Sue Ann's cobwebbing, which she's enjoying having to come out every morning and fix, and by every evening they're all messed up again with this wind. So she is having some fun. Past that, we need breakfast of the day. And I'm stuck on hamburgers for some reason. Hamburgers are sounding really, really good. I need to make a Major's run. That hamburger joint locally here. Need to go down there and get a hamburger. Get my craving for their giant hamburgers out. But we had giant hamburgers yesterday, so we can't do that today. And I think we had apple fritters the day before. Or was it oatmeal? I know we had oatmeal this week too. What the hell are you guys hungry for? Do we want to just go simple? Toast with either cinnamon sugar on it or peanut butter, or both. Maybe some sliced bananas on it. How about that? 4 slices. And then your choice of drink. We'll just go for that for breakfast of the day. Anyway, I'm going to put this camera down. Kaylee wants out of the car. She's just laying back there looking at me like saying, "Dad, come on, let's go." But let's go get the hay into the witch and then get started on those power supplies. Well, like I thought, it didn't take long. But we did get the witch and the chain haul done. I'm pausing here because I wanted to show you some of the cobwebbing Sue Ann did. Now she's thinking she wants to do some cobwebbing up along the roof here. I agree with her, it needs it, but the only problem is with the nature of the cobwebbing. It's going to be hanging down. In other words, it's going to get torn to hell when people walk through it. And then another thing too, I have not mentioned to Sue, but it looks like it should be okay. I need to get in there and get the projector in. And get it plugged in. So I think she better call it quits here. Now I do need to get this gate reattached too. I'll do that after the projector's in. Once the projector's in, I have no need to be in there. But she's done really, really good with the webbing. Now on the witch's display, we got all the hay in. That kind of sets off the display. I still need to reattach that fence panel into this gap here to seal it up. And at this point I could, because we're basically done with work in there. The problem is like the table over there and the chest. It's filling up with leaves and twigs and stuff. You know, so they're going to need to get cleaned off. And so I can hold off on doing that on the witch. It doesn't take long to attach those fence panels. Now over here in the display for the chain, all I had to do is put hay in. The fence panel was already attached. So the hay's in. These guys are ready to go. And I went and left the wheelbarrow full of hay over here in the graveyard, because this is the next one that needs hay. And then I can seal it up after I get the projector in. In fact, where is the fence panel for this one? There should be a fence panel, a 2-foot fence panel. It's around here somewhere. Okay, I just got that cobweb and it's not in here. Okay, leaning right there against the fence. But I still need to get in here. One, I got the projector to put in, which won't be going in quite yet. And then I've got my memorial, the sign, and Morgan's tombstone. I need to get the brain box hooked up for and calibrated. So that's basically all I have to do in here. I am not doing that right now. Right now, we are heading into the house. I am going to get to work on those 2 computer power supplies, try to get them done and reinstalled. It's bugging me. So that's going to be our next docket. And then once we get done with that, we'll probably come out here and mess around with brain boxes in the cemetery and try to get the cemetery finished. Well, let's get inside. Maybe grab some breakfast too. Oh man, I am kind of hungry. A taco toast with peanut butter and cinnamon sugar sounds good now. Okay, I did get something to eat. Toast with peanut butter on it. Didn't have any bananas to put on it though. But the toast with peanut butter was satisfying. We're down here in the Mini Dragon's Lair workshop. Tongue twister today for some reason. And we're getting ready. Well, I left on the thing where on the last vlog where I had the wires sorted out and snipped. Now it's time to turn our attention to the covers that fit over the top. I'm going to need to go out into the main shop and drill some holes in the lip here so I can mount the brackets. I've got one to go there and one to go there on both covers. I'm also going to need to do on the sides, both this side and that side, a couple of more holes to mount some brackets. This is what will be holding the power supplies into the power box. So I need to get some brackets and stuff mounted. That is next step. So we're going to go out and get that done now, and then we'll come back in and we'll start getting things hooked up and wired up. Well, like I was thinking, it didn't take too long. Just getting back in from outside, I went and drilled 4 holes, 2 on each end of each connector. So there's 8 holes up here. And I just simply ran a small zip tie through it to secure these to the lids. On the sides, I used a bracket. Once the lids are reinstalled on the power supplies, these will be on the outside, and I can run a screw through it to attach it to the power box. One thing I did do too is in here where the head of the screw should be, and it's there, it's just underneath a piece of electrical tape. While it shouldn't hit the screw head shouldn't hit anything inside the power supply and arc, I like to be safe and run a piece of electrical tape over it. It helps kind of insulate it, you know, from rubbing up against something. For the moment now, though, those are done. So I can set these off to the side. Our next bit of work we need to do is with these here. And it's dealing with all these wires. I've got red, I got black, I've got yellow, and I've got one green wire. That one green wire is the load wire is what I want to call it. I don't know what the exact term of it is. If this is not connected to something, the power supply will not turn on. It will not run. So basically all I need to do is snip it and attach it to a red wire, and that will trick the power supply into thinking that it's got load, and it should turn on. Past that, I also need to take, oh Jesus, what is it here? Oh, that Ram Think. Actually, it's, that gets attached to a black wire, not a red wire. It's a sandbar resistor, this here, that gets attached to a red and a black wire. So we'll do that and get those pieces into it next. And then we can start doing some assembly work. Well, progress made and one finished. I got my green connected to a black. And I've got my sandbar resistor in, and it's connected to a red and a black. I've got the fan hooked back up. Now, make sure it works at this point and you are not wasting your time. Wonky camera angle. You turn it on. And if you look at this part, it doesn't look like it's doing anything. But the fan over there is running. That's the only way at this point to tell whether what you've done works, is if the fan runs. If the power supply is not working, that fan will not run when you get to this point. Next step is I need to get the lid back on to the base, get it attached down, and then I need to snip and mount all my wires to the facets up here. But I'm going to get the other power supply to this point. I'm going to get this one covered back up and sealed, set it off to the side, and then we will work on getting that one. Okay, I kind of lied. I decided to go ahead and get this one finished. I haven't even started the other one yet. Now the colors I saved out, I went and measured out to go into each terminal. I did 5 yellow and 5 red on this side, and then 10 black on this side. And you basically just bring them up, measure them for the socket it goes in, nip them, and then bare the wire a little bit, and then put a little bit of solder on it. It's called tinning the wires. Then insert them into the thing and tighten the screw down, and that makes your connection. To keep the wires neat, especially on the side, I went and used some small zip ties to tighten them up, and up here I'm not overly worried about it. Now to test it, I simply have a LED light. And I'm going to try to do this one-handed. There we go. Nice bright light. And it's flickering because I'm very unsteady. That's the 12 volt circuit, and that LED is set up for 12 volt. Now when I go to touch it to the 5 volt, it lights up too, but it's a lot dimmer. And that's because there's only 5 volt going through the LED instead of 12. But that tells me that both the rails are working, both the negative or ground, and then the 12 volt and the 5 volt. But this power supply is for the most part done. Now I'm going to set up the other power supply, that one there, the same as this one. Now I should say with this, with these two, I'm setting them up both the same way, to do 12 volt and 5 volt. When I get them into the power box, I'm going to have one doing mainly the black and the yellow, which is 12 volt, and then the other one will be doing the black and the red, which is 5 volt. If something should ever happen to one of the power supplies, I can transfer its load over onto the other. So technically I could have both the 12 volt and the 5 volt circuit running on one power supply if needed. Just kind of a backup so I don't have to go through this rigmarole again. But anyway, we got one power supply done. Now we got to get started on the other power supply. Oh, and all the wires that we had sticking out the thing, there they are there. They're all garbage. That's all got to go in the garbage. But anyway, on to the next one. Okay, I am perturbed. I've got another project for this winter. I got the power bases in. This one here is a 12 volt, and it's running this bank of switches there. This one, on the other hand, is 5 volt, and it's supposed to be running these switches. In fact, when I turn the switches on, their LED light lights up showing that they've got power and they are on. My problem is when I hook up my 5 volt lines to the back of them, either the light dims or it goes out. And the prop that's hooked up to it, which is a 5 volt prop, does not work. So what I ended up having to do is right now I have a little animated 5 volt clown in with a hammering clown. He has a couple things, he kicks his legs. I've got the 2 cameo plaques in the photo hall, and I've got the lamp and the Ouija board in the Gypsy. 3 different lines, all hooked up. Since I can't use the switches on the back, I brought them in here and tried testing it, and what happens is the power lines, these green and white lines, the power supply, go up to these. These are the bus bars, and then that diverts the power up into the switches. I've got them hooked directly into the bus bars, bypassing the switches. They're working. Everything works except for the Gypsy, and I know what the problem is in the Gypsy. I worked on that late at night, and I think some of my connections aren't meeting up. That's why the stuff in there is not turning on. So I've got to go in and take a look at that. But I've had to bypass the switches. So this winter, I'm going to have to get in here, deconstruct the 5 volt side, and redo it, and see what the hell is going on. Because there's something in between the switches and the connections on the back. It's just not transferring the power where it should be. And it should, because it's set up exactly as these are. And these are working. Now when I built the box, I went through and I tested all the 12 volt circuits. Both this bank, and this bank here. By putting an LED in the back. I turned the switch on, let LED light come on. I went through and I checked each and every one. I could not do that with the 5 volt for some reason. But, because I didn't have any 5 volt items out. But for some reason, and I don't know why, those switches are not working. I have no idea why. But I think instead of going over to do the graveyard, I'm going to hop over to Gypsy and see if I can get Gypsy working. That's got to have at least one piece in there animated. You know, that's how we build the haunt, is every display has something animated in it. You know, one way or the other. Right now, Gypsy's the only one that doesn't have anything animated in it. Other than the misting bowls, and I don't count those as being animated. Okay, Gypsy is 100% running. I don't have the low voltage on. Across here. And I think I need to re-aim that sensor just a touch. That one finishes.
You want to know what you shall always have and will never lose. Your constant companion will be this.
I do need to re-aim that sensor. I know, you're looking at my nose again. Sorry. Put the sensor more that way. That way they trip the lamp when they first come in, not halfway through. Noisy cars again. But we got the Gypsy done. So everything's working in there. That was one that was bothering me. We got the power station back up and running, kind of. Jury-rigged, unfortunately. And we got the hay and the witch and what have you. Now, I'm at a quandary. It's almost dinner time. It's starting to get dark. Do I want to go frick with pneumatics over in the graveyard? I probably ought to or at least get the power lines ran over there. And I got Katie in the door watching Papa. She hears Papa talking. So anyway, I think I am going to poke around over in the graveyard a bit. I don't know if I'll get the boards programmed and pneumatics working or not. Okay, I wanted to get you guys some nighttime footage on something. Before dinner, I did make it over to the graveyard and I got the power line ran for the pneumatics. That's as far as I got. By the time we got done with dinner, it was just too dark, and there's so many wires and hoses and stuff in here. I'm gonna wait and do this tomorrow. It'll be my first project tomorrow. I did want to show you though, Joanne's cobwebbing in the mausoleum with all the lights and stuff on. There we go. Get this turned right here. Don't know what type of footage you were getting before. But it looks really good in here with all the lighting and everything. This turned out, this was, I think, her masterpiece this year, Sue. But since I didn't do the graveyard, we moved over to the water room, and I had one line to run. All it's running is a guy in the barrel here. We got a light on him so his head lights up, and the pumping station lights, which were 12 volt. That's basically what we've been working on this evening. So I'm still thinking about putting that 2-foot black light in the corner there, Sue.
Oh, in the corner on the bar?
Yeah.
You could.
Well, the rest of the walls where the black lights are kind of popping. But you get over here into that corner, it's just kind of blah. And I think I have an extra outlet down underneath those barrels where I can plug it into or brace into or what have you.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
The light looks good.
Yeah.
Everything's good out.
Last year we did blue. This year I decided I'd try the flickering green. Now, I do like the flickering green, the flickering colors on there because it makes it look like there's something moving around in the tubs. So, but would you agree though about putting a 2-foot light in here, you think?
I have no problem with it.
Uh-huh.
As long as you have a 2-foot light.
Yeah. Well, it was in the spare bedroom, so it ought to be.
Anything in the spare
Yeah.
bedroom,
So, okie dokie. Well, let us get cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and do our end of the day wrap up. I'm done out here for today. It is getting nippy. It's down around 50 degrees. So, sit tight, folks. Be back in just a sec. End of the day wrap up. And no, I'm not sitting down. Cement's too damn chilly. And I'm too damn chilly. We did make it someplace today out here. We got the witch 100% finished. Got the hay in there. Got the hay in the chain haul. We got the 2 computer power supplies up and working. And found another problem. Those switches on the 5 volt need to be looked at because they're not running right. Which is a job for this winter. We did get the 5 volt hooked up though, so the 5 volt stuff is working. The only problem with the way we hooked them up is the every time I turn power on, like if I want to check LED lighting someplace in the hunt, the 5 volt, all the 5 volt stuff automatically comes on. There's no way of shutting it off other than clipping the wires, and I'm not going to be doing that every goddamn night or day. So we're going to be stuck listening to the 5 volt for the rest of the season. We did make it over. Got the with the 5 volt running, was able to get the Gypsy going all the way 100%. The Ouija board and the lamp were both 5 volt, and it took a while to get them up and running. but they are now running. Now, I was supposed to work on the graveyard, and I did a little bit. I got the power line ran for it, but by the time we got done with dinner, it was just too damn dark out here to see what I'm doing. There was a lot of wiring and stuff over there as far as the pneumatics go, so we ended up bypassing the graveyard again and making it over to the water room, and you just saw footage of that. Tomorrow, top priority tomorrow is going to be the graveyard. That is going to be the only thing we're going to be focusing on tomorrow until it is done. Once the graveyard has the pneumatics all firing the way they're supposed to be, we'll go over and get the Skullabra in the photo hall taken care of. Get the brain box in there, and there's some 5-volt in there. You know, get that taken care of. But tomorrow, order of business is going to be that graveyard. That's the first order of business. All right, now passing that, I am being asked to come inside. I've got a little doggy in that window staring at me intently. She wants me in the house, so I better get in there. Stay spooky. Stay dog.